Hey everybody, welcome to Your Unpaid Therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Your Unpaid Therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
Oh, that's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valerie Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know.
I am your host, Ali Kona. She's away. Brad Ford.
This is Your Unpaid Therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha.
Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba.
Woo-woo. Hey, hello. After extreme difficulties, we are here. We are back for Your Unpaid Therapist. And today, Valerie and I wanted to dive deep on some pretty interesting topics. The topic of consent, sex education, and the debate about abortion. So pretty heavy stuff, but of course,
Super heavy.
Yeah, we're going to get into our Never Have I Ever.
Okay, I'm going to shuffle my cards here, get into something light before we get heavy. So never have I ever been to a psychic.
Ooh.
If yes, were they good, on point? You know, I'm into that. And you know, we've talked about...
Hey, Val, turn your volume down just a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
I'm testing this mic, y'all, and I've been going through them. I've been doing the AirPods. We've been doing a little old school air. Is this better?
Still a little loud. And if not,
I'll just
take a step back.
Yeah, I'll just take a step back. Now I'm using a fancy one, and so I guess I'm sounding too loud. Is that a little bit better?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, like I was saying, I've always been into the psychic medium. I'm fascinated by it. I've read Tyler Henry's book. I watched the what is it, the medium in New York, Long Island Medium. And I've gone to some psychics that have said certain things that have made me feel like, but I've never had that experience. What I'm still waiting for is like a medium type person to say like, hey, your grandma said, thank you for putting her ashes, blah, 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 something that nobody, that she wouldn't know. I've never had that experience, and I really, really want that. What about you?
First of all, cool that you read Tyler Henry's book. I've seen clips. Like I always get suckered in on YouTube and watching all those things. I've seen two psychics. One fed me a bunch of baloney. Still not dancing for Britney Spears, bitch. She said I would. But the other one, so Matt, who you guys all know, when Lonnie Kai passed away, got me a session with a pet psychic. And
that's right.
Yeah, and he was like, you know what? Just let it make you feel better. Like whatever she says, whether you believe it or don't, let it make you feel better. And I was like, okay, because of course she's like, Lonnie Kai says that she's in a better place and she's happy and she felt love. And I'm like, yeah, okay, lady. The only things that she said, and Val, you actually pointed it out to me too. She said that, Lonnie Kai was very social. And I was like, no, she's not. And you're like, yeah, she is. You were always taking her to like, work with you and everywhere she was in my... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, everywhere we went, Lonnie Kai got noticed. Like, I mean, she got complimented more than anybody has ever been complimented because she just was so chill. Ali Corner would wear her like a little backpack, and she would just be there like happy as can be, and people would just literally have double takes, like break their neck kind of double takes, and be like, "Oh my God, she's so cute."
She's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people thought she was fake. But the other thing that she had said is that so those of you who have not listened to the first episode of the podcast, unfortunately, Lonnie Kai had drowned. I brought her back to life, brought her to the vet, and then the next day she passed away. And so the vet was like, what happened to her, she says, was not pleasant, but what was going to happen in the future would have been far worse because the lady said, like, I'm sensing some organ failure. And I thought, okay, I knew she had some kidney stones, so some kidney issues. And then right before she passed away, the vet was like, oh, I'm seeing some liver issues. And I don't know if that's because the shock from the drowning caused certain things to shut down, or that was something she was experiencing for a while that I just did not know about. So in that sense, it made me feel better because I was like, okay, I would not want my dog to go through organ failure because then I'd have to figure out, like, can I save her? It would have been so... Like I said, I let that part feel better. And then she had also said too, if Lonnie Kai ever comes back to visit, it would be in the form of a butterfly. And you'll notice that I have a bunch of butterflies on my wall. So every time I'm hiking, I'm like, is that you?
I love it. That's so sweet. Okay, you pick a card.
Okay, let's go
Putting them up.
yellow. There's a yellow one.
Yes, there is a yellow one. Okay, so never have you ever done something incredibly embarrassing or demeaning for money?
Ooh, for money.
That changes it
I know, right? Like, have I done something embarrassing in the meeting?
all the time.
Absolutely.
For
Now, did somebody
money.
pay me for it? I guess it depends on your morals, right? Like, I used to be a go-go dancer for many years in Vegas, but I was hanging like 20 feet from the ceiling in a cage.
Uh-huh.
So in that sense, it felt less demeaning because no one was grabbing at me and touching me, and I was far away.
Yeah.
I think that's it. What about
And it's
you?
almost like which I know people have an interesting opinion about too, but I was going to say like pole dancing or even like stunts or acrobatics. Or
Mhm.
how about this? Let's say Cirque du Soleil, because everybody can watch Cirque du Soleil people and be like, wow, it's the same thing, just a little bit more revealing clothes. And not even because some Cirque du Soleil shows, they're half naked anyway. So
Right.
what? It
Mhm.
just takes so much athleticism to do what you
Yes.
did. Have I done for money? Gosh, maybe a film, like a short, like a back in the day when I started my career, like I'm sure um I've done stuff that yes, definitely. That now I'm embarrassed. Like at the time, it was a learning experience and I was like, oh shit, super hyped and proud. Now I'm like, oh, I hope nobody ever sees that. So that
That's
is
funny. I've done a
definitely.
few of those myself.
Yeah, and I mean, look, looking back at it, like it was a great learning lesson. Tongue
Yeah.
twister. Okay, let's get into it because I know we
Yeah.
are short on
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
this is heavy, heavy, heavy. But and we've had these conversations, you guys, about all the things, and I mean, just in my feed alone, I'm having like all these videos of celebrities with the Bidens, talking about abortion rights, women's rights, et cetera, et cetera. So there's been plenty of reasons why we wanted to do this, I guess, I don't know, a hodgepodge of relevant topics with the sex education, the abortion, and the consent. But why did you think it was important and why now? Like,
You
why do
know
you think
what?
it's
I love that you said it and you had said it in that order because it makes sense. So I'm going to start it from here and I want to start with consent because I don't feel like, and it just reoccurred to me because of some reading that I had done. And it made me realize about an experience that I had had. So we had discussed that book about like the seven deadly sins and the price women pay to behave. And it was, and also Constance Wu's book. And basically it's boys are not taught like when you have sex education in school, and mind you, Valerie and I, we've not had sex ed in a while. It's been a while since fifth
right,
grade,
right,
but they teach you like the anatomy of the body and they teach you about periods and this, that, and the third and wet dreams. But they don't teach you the details of consent. Like, yeah, sure, if a woman says no, no means no, but there's other things like coercion that they don't really talk about. And I think boys, when you're a certain age, are very hormonal and you feel things, and it's a very strong feeling. And so maybe she's playing cat and mouse. She's playing hard to get, and they don't teach you that that's not okay. And so after reading Constance Wu's book, because she had said, I didn't really realize that I experienced date rape because I didn't necessarily go like, no, I told him in advance I didn't want to have sex with him. And he just kept on like touching me and caressing me and pursuing me, thinking that I was playing hard to get. And then her body reacted as your body will. If you rub certain areas, you get aroused. So for her, that was a very confusing. And she's like, but I don't know if I want, no, I said I didn't want this. And then by that time it was too late. And she just laid there like a limp noodle because she didn't know what to do, and then later on blamed herself because she said, maybe I just didn't try hard enough. And
sure,
I've had my own experience like that. So when I was a late bloomer. So right after high school was the first time I ever had sex. I was at a party and there was a boy that was really, really popular in high school, 1 year older than me. I don't care. I'll fucking say his name. His name was Ricky Riley. I'm calling you out. Um, made out with him and I really, really liked him. And we had this conversation about how I was a virgin and that I wasn't gonna have sex until I was with somebody that I really cared about. And that was that. The next weekend, I saw him again at a party, and we were making out, and the lights were out, and whatever, whatever. And before I knew it, like my dress was up, and whatever, that's fine. I thought I was just going to be fooling around, but no, no asking, no nothing. Just all of a sudden, because it was dark, I didn't know that he unbuckled his pants, and he just like went to town. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Is this sex? I think it's sex. I don't know if it's sex. It is sex. Oh my God, I'm having sex. Wait, I don't want to be having sex. And it's like, and then all those thoughts happened and I pushed him off of me, but I don't know how long that was. It could have been 5 seconds, it could have been 30 seconds. It felt like 5 minutes. It probably wasn't. But I just remember being so upset because then I was like, "Well, does this feel good?" Like I don't know what this feels like. Like so many things are happening, but I knew going
Sure.
into it that I didn't want to do that. And so the next week when I saw him again, I got mad and I actually vocalized how I felt about the situation. And he was like, I was like, I told you I was a virgin, like you didn't even ask. And he was like, oh, I thought you were just saying that.
Mm, mhm.
Why would I just say that to you? Oh, like that's you thought that was my version of a game. And
Right.
so the next day after the event had occurred, I called my best friend who I knew was sexually active and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like, I think I need to go get the morning after pill.
Yeah.
And so we went and we probably didn't even have sex long enough, but just in case, you're freaked out, you're a kid, you don't know
Yeah.
any better. And so that entails basically all of the topics, really. It's like A, consent. He was not taught, he was popular, he was good looking. He thought that, he could do whatever he wanted to because he was in the moment. And B, thank God abortion rights were a thing because God forbid had I gotten pregnant.
Right.
A was my first time having sex, so no, I'm not a slut. B, I didn't even warrant the act of wanting to have, you know what I mean? Like it
Right.
could have that could have changed the entire course of my life.
Your entire life and that baby's life. Man, there's so many things to touch on with just that story alone. One, it's like, sorry you even had to like go through that. And I know you say you were a late bloomer, but even at that age, it's everything that you described. There's so many different emotions and thoughts that go in and out. I do think from a little bit of the research that I did that now, especially after the Me Too, um, there's definitely a little bit the conversation in some states is different. They add so in 38 states and the District of Columbia, they mandate sex education and or HIV education. 25 and DC mandate both sex and HIV education. 3 states only mandate just sex education. And then 10 states only mandate the HIV conversation. And I'd love to know, oh, because you said in 5th grade. Is that when you remember having that class? Because
Yeah.
I don't. Oh my god. And that's a whole other conversation. One, I feel like that's really young, but also no, it's not young. I
Mhm.
remember having it and hearing about it in middle school. And to be honest, I don't quite I definitely I just remember it being more science, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The egg and the sperm and whatever, and nothing about all the things that you just described. So what I was gonna say, sorry you even went through that at such a young age. And it's confusing, and I think the young boys need to hear it. I saw a mom on Instagram with her young little boys, 3 and 4 years old. She had them go with through this routine, and she was like, okay, I'm going to have you come in and try to give me a hug, but we're not going to speak, we can't use any words now. With just my what my body shows you, I want you to tell me if I was accepting of your hug or if I didn't want to have a hug. And so she went over this again and again and again with her little bitty boys. And then the little boy had to, after the little experiment thing was done, because they couldn't use words, had to tell her, okay, what about my body language told you that I didn't really want a hug at the time? And then the little boy had to say, oh, well, you kind of closed your hands. Oh, or, your shoulder was by my chest, little things like that, very age appropriate. But I thought that was awesome. I always go to the comments and everybody was praising her for this kind of seemingly like easy little thing, but I mean, it speaks volumes for a little boy to be able to read body language at such a young age. Um,
Yeah.
and hearing you go through your story, because I the debate is that it's like, well, you shouldn't have been making out with this guy if you didn't really want it. That's that. But for a mother to teach her young child the magnitude of what body language is really saying, what people that has nothing to do with words, that alone tells you that we're not paying attention to the right thing.
Yes. I love that you say that because the blame gets put on the woman all the
Always.
time, and even
Yeah.
yourself, meaning yourself, because again, you go home, I go home and I go, was I not strong enough in what
Yeah.
did I not push him off fast enough? Did I not
Yeah.
react fast enough? Did I not? Nowhere in that was he shouldn't have done that. He
Right.
wasn't thinking. He did not go home thinking that either. Like I said, until I brought it up the next week when I saw that person
Right.
again.
Which I
And
applaud you, because a lot of women don't have um the self-awareness, the strength, a bunch of different things to talk to their, I don't know what you call it, and tell them that point of view, which I think is also important. I also want to bring up something that isn't talked about a lot is when it comes to being taken advantage of or rape, on the male perspective, um, which again, kind of taboo, people don't talk about, but it's even harder because physically the male body changes. And for women it's harder to tell,
mhm,
but obviously there's a physical change that happens to the male body. So then right away, if they were to be raped or taken advantage of, it is really debunked quickly because of the physical changes that happen. And I know people are close who are close to me who were molested as a young child, and that was the hardest thing for them. And I said people, men, boys, because that was confusing. And I can only imagine like an incident like what you went through, Ali Kona, and then a young boy to
mhm,
literally see the physical change and really feel the guilt of like,
yeah.
but I liked it,
Right.
clearly.
You're right. But I mean, but it's the same thing for a woman because even though you can't physically see it the way a
But
man,
but the other person can see it for the man. The
yes. But
That's why it's a little, I mean, not a little, it's very different.
it
Um,
is, I'm gonna say it is, but it's not. Because if a man is touching you, right? Like you may not physically see, like you're talking about like rubbing up on a boy's pants and obviously he gets
right, right. I'm talking
but
about before any inside penetration. I'm not
right.
talking about, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And I'm talking about if a man is touching you and you
Mhm.
get aroused and he puts his hands down your pants, he automatically feels and he's like,
But
okay.
he has to already be inside to feel that.
With not with his hands.
Yeah, yeah, with his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like for a man,
Mhm.
if like nobody even has to technically physically touch
Touch
him.
you. That's true.
Yeah, that's what's difficult.
Mhm.
There sometimes there doesn't even have to be physical contact. So then it's like, okay, so what's going on then
Yeah.
with that then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's a real, I mean, whew, it, we can go on and on. There's so many
Yeah.
ways to go with that, but all in all, like that consent, I don't know. I'd be curious if they talk about it nowadays in sex ed. I'd be curious as to the age.
Well,
Go
like
ahead.
you said, when you were, I love that you gave those statistics. It's funny because I had looked that stuff up too. And one of the things is in some of those states, they don't teach, not only do they not teach consent, they just teach abstinence. And to me, that is so unrealistic.
Mm,
Like, yeah, sure. But at the same time, at that age, your body naturally wants certain things. And some kids are not going to be absent. So at least teach them the repercussions. And even in fifth grade, when you do learn the anatomy, yes, it's egg meets sperm, da da da. This is intercourse, but it's so vague. It doesn't teach you much. And I think the mentality is like an old school, slightly religious mentality of if they don't know,
right.
they're not going to do it. And it's like, no,
Right.
look at
And
the. But
I was going to say that. I was like, those states are probably the same states that are trying to ban abortion.
they are, they
Yeah, which is,
are.
you guys, it's hard. I'm looking through their feet, especially with the elections coming up this year. It's really fucking frustrating and annoying. It's every negative emotion that a woman, a person could possibly feel, and I'm only going to speak for myself, when other people are trying to dictate what I do with my own body. And I know that's the conversation that we're all hearing, but it's like, fuck you, mind your own fucking business.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah, yeah,
it's really difficult. And for these Bible thumpers and God fearing people, God bless you. I look, I grew up in a Catholic family. Like I understand where it's coming from. The seed of it is beautiful. The seed of it is don't kill, right? I get beautiful sentiment. I love it. Amazing. Ali Kurna is an advocate for animals. Like she, um, has a heart of gold too. I just think that if it has nothing to do with you and something that could possibly kill you, like there's people like crossing the borders to save their own lives because they're almost term and they have to take this dying baby out of their body, and the doctor may be fired, his whole career gone if he tries to save your life. Like, what is happening? It's
Now,
deep.
honestly, I told you we were talking about this the other day, actually, on the phone, I think. So I remember going into a shopping strip mall, if you will, a bunch of stuff in there. Planned Parenthood happened to be in there.
That's
And
right.
as I'm turning my car in there, there's two middle-aged white men with posters shouting at me, abortion is murder, ban abortion, blah, 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 like basically telling me to F off as I pull into this parking lot. And
Yeah.
I'm like, bruh, because of today's day and age, and I don't know if you have a gun, I'm not going to say anything, but
Right.
normally I would get out and let you know. Like, it's like, who the fuck are you, you stupid white man? And don't get me wrong, my dad's a white man. But I'm just,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
never in history have women ever tried to put any type of law or belief
No.
in that you need to go amputate your dick because you raped somebody, or you need to go get a vasectomy. Like, there are no laws.
Hmm.
So how come you're trying to tell a female what to do with her body, but we aren't telling? Like, what? Like,
Yeah, and it's disheartening too because in the Black and brown communities, that is where statistically Planned Parenthood and these abortions um, are more popular.
mhm,
Um, and so, like anything, things like Planned Parenthood, things like food stamps and things like that, um, has has been started to help minorities
mhm,
um, and people without health care. I mean, shit, that's a big problem, right?
mhm,
But and actually, my boyfriend was talking about, how there's a lot more Planned Parenthoods and these kind of facilities in minority neighborhoods. So, of
mhm,
course, the number of these things happening to minorities is way bigger than any other ethnicity. But, it always starts with the pure intent, and obviously things, no matter what, are going to be taken advantage of. So, like, we can't stop that. Like, if it is what it is, like, that's unfortunate because it makes certain communities look bad, or it makes it feel like it's something that people are doing recklessly. Like, I'm just gonna go,
mhm,
have sex. Whoop, I hope I don't get pregnant this time. And what's also interesting, and I know we have to go soon, but I also want to mention, which is really frustrating and not talked about at a young age, is it's not very easy to get pregnant. Like, now at my age and knowing more about the miracle of even getting pregnant and that one day that you're fertile and ovulating and all the fucking things,
mhm,
like, that's a whole thing too. So I feel like there's so much fear-based education at a young age to fulfill people's propaganda or ideals, whatever.
mhm.
And then when you become older and you're aware, it's like, wait a minute, it's like, now I mean, I'm trying to figure out like the right day. You're on your app, your Flow app, the perfect day, time, whatever, to even be able to get pregnant is wild. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like random at all. So even that, and the fact that some states are even trying to mess with IVF and fertility stuff, like, and putting it in the laws that, like, that's um should be banned. I'm just like, y'all, oh my goodness.
What you do with your body is what you do with your body.
I
Full
know.
stop.
Full stop.
Um,
And it's so hard because I understand. understand the seed and like where it's born for people trying to not kill and save lives and murder, which is the word that is used. I understand that, and that is your prerogative, and that is so kind of you. And if you want to have 10 million babies and you can afford them, do it. But what's unfair is to say that I need to have a child if it was rape or whatever, and that go ahead.
I would say not even that though, but if you know that you are not in a position, like mentally in a
Right.
position, mental
That's where I
health.
was going.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Well,
don't.
because where I was going is they're making you have these. They want you to have these children, but my child won't have health care. You're not taking care of this child. You're not providing food, education, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're not providing any of that, then why am I obligated to have this child? And another thing, I thought it was really kind of funny. Somebody said, okay, in these states that people are saying that like, a life is a life, like you're murdering a human, da da da. Then all of these people who have their eggs who that are frozen, who have to pay rent for the eggs to be, kept in a facility, then you need to write your children off on your taxes. Because listen, if you guys are saying those are those are real babies, then I'm gonna need a write off for
Right.
this dependent and that dependent. Yeah, I thought that was
You
so
know what?
funny.
And you just brought up a good point because that's always in my argument too. Like, if you want to argue about a life of a lima bean, right? Because again, it's nothing. It's not cognizant. It's not any of those things. Again, the morning after pill. It's nothing. It 2 weeks in, it's not a living, breathing, feeling
Right,
being. A B. If you want to sit there and come at me and protest me some murder and this and that, are you vegan? Fuck you. You're
right,
not. Because you're
right.
killing shit every single day. And it actually lives, breathes, is abused, is neglected, is pumped
Hmm.
full of drugs. Like all these awful things are happening to these animals that are feeling massive pain. And you're going to put those on your plate, poop them out 24 hours later and not think twice. But then you're going to come yell at me and come for me to drive into a Planned Parenthood. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's difficult and it's scary. I'm so scared. I am so scared of where the future of the US is going. I mean,
It is scary.
it's a lot, but more than anything, look, you're right. You have the right to feel however you want to feel. You know, I love I love passionate people. And I love being able to debate with people who don't think like me, but I don't want your beliefs to dictate what I do. Like it's just it doesn't make any sense. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Um so hopefully we didn't offend any of you. And if we did, I hope that you learned a little bit of something. I hope you got some insight. And shit, add us with
Yeah.
your whys.
Yeah.
We love
Well,
the conversations.
I think when you get offended, that means lean into whatever it is that's offending you because it
Mm.
means that you feel strongly about something.
Yeah, I
That's
love
it.
that.
Anyways, we are running out of time, so we do want to leave it on we always like to leave it on a positive solutional note. And if you
Yeah.
think of something, Val, let me know. Cause my only solution would be, again, yeah, it's never your fault if somebody coheres, whatever. Men do better. Women, yes, we need to speak up. And again, sometimes you find yourself in a situation, but, just, yeah, that's it.
Do better. Yeah, and people with children, educate your children. Start at home. Start, with the people that you have access to. And like always, thanks for supporting us and hearing us out and sharing your life, your opinions with us. It all matters. It really does.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
everybody, have a
We
good
love
rest of your
you.
day, night, whatever it is. Adios.
Bye.